Hi, welcome to High Output, the podcast exploring how today's engineering leaders are building tomorrow's high-performing teams. I'm your host, William Cheng, and each episode we sit down with visionary engineering leaders who are forging new paths in our rapidly evolving field. Join us as we gain a window into tomorrow's software organizations and discover what's next for our profession and the entire software industry. This episode is brought to you by Maestro AI. Engineering leaders, let's be real. Building high-performing software teams has never been more challenging. You're trying to ship faster, keep your team healthy, and communicate value to stakeholders. That's where Maestro comes in. Maestro enables you to understand everything that's going on in order to improve velocity, spot blockers, and make better decisions faster. Maestro seamlessly integrates with your existing tools like Jira, GitHub, and Slack so that you don't need to change your workflow. Maestro cuts through the noise, revealing exactly who is delivering, who needs help, and where your team is spending time and energy. Visit getmaestro.ai for more info, because you don't know everything, but Maestro does. All right, our guest today is Adam Kirk. Adam is an experienced software architect and engineering leader, having led software architecture at his previous two roles. He was principal architect at PDQ and head of engineering at ZipBooks. He scaled business software to hundreds of thousands of users and cares deeply about creating fast, efficient, and secure software that delights people. Adam graduated with a bachelor's in computer science from the University of Utah, where he put himself through college by creating one of the earliest breakout apps on the App Store. Welcome to the show, Adam.
Thanks.
All right. Tell us about yourself. What was the first app? And how did you get into engineering leadership?
Yeah, sure. So current role is CTO at Jump. Guess I should have added that to the bio. So I'm a co-founder and CTO of Jump. We started about 2 years ago, and we were initially trying to build a CRM updater for sales, and it was really competitive in that space. And we kind of accidentally, met with a financial advisor that really wanted to use it, and then their team were like the most excited users we've had. So we did like customer development, talked to a bunch of financial advisors, and found that they wanted this way more than anybody else we'd talked to. So we pivoted, and it just kind of was a boulder rolling down a hill. It was all the descriptions of product market fit that you've heard. It was like without any effort whatsoever, people were beating a path to our door. They're like just signups were happening more and more every day. The only challenge we had was delivering the product enough to people fast enough, So back to your original question, I created an app back. Let me tell the full story, which is that I took a programming class at the U for iPhone, and so that kind of like taught me Objective-C, which back in 2009, Objective-C was like kind of a tough language. So I took a class which finally clicked and got it, and I made the very first third-party calendar app at the App Store. Like right at that time, Apple had opened up in iOS 4. They opened up the calendar API. So I took advantage of that and made the first calendar app on the App Store. And it sold really well. And I was able to basically pay off all of college with the money I made from selling that calendar app and stuff. So yeah, that was what that was.
Fantastic. Wait, what was that called?
It was called Calvetica. It was a very minimalist calendar app based on the Helvetica font. And the goal, like the whole value prop, was that you could create an event in like 2 or 3 taps. And I don't know if you remember iPhones back in 2009, but like the calendar app, it was like 15 taps to create just a simple reminder in your calendar. Really, really tedious. So ours was like tap, type, done. You know what I mean? So it was people really liked it because it was so much easier to create an event than the original iOS 4 calendar app.
Amazing. Okay, so where did you go from there? What led you from, being an app creator to, I guess that's a good story from wanting to stay in the field, right? But how did things progress from there?
Yeah, for sure. Well, so I mostly did IC roles. I built the calendar app, and for 2 or 3 years, the App Store is like really hard to build sustainable software in. It's really competitive, and like you'll submit a new version, and then it spikes up in downloads, and then tinkers out, and then spikes up and tinkers out, and it's very frustrating to build a sustainable business in the App Store. I did go on to work for one that did. If you Day One is an app I went and worked for as an employee, and they definitely built an amazing app that was very sustainable for like 10 years before they got bought by
Nice.
Automatic. So I worked on Day One for a while. But I did various roles as an IC, always with like a side, a side project that I worked on in the early mornings or on Saturdays, always trying to start, a startup. Um, and, each one I learned from the failure and did a little bit better. But all of them pale in comparison to the success we found and the product market fit we found with Jump. So, I've kind of always had some kind of side, you know, uh, yeah, like moonlighting startup that I was trying to work on.
What's different? I mean, it sounds like one, um, you have more experience, of course, and you must have learned some lessons. But what's the big? I guess could you boil it down? Are there some big lessons that you learned that you think contributed here, or was it
Yeah.
like a lot of luck?
Um, it's luck. It is very much
Hmm.
luck. But but I rolled the dice 20, 30
Mm-hmm.
times, right? So I think man, I really do think it's luck. But then there's like, there's Elon Musk who it's like, he'll start one after another and like nothing's a failure ever. And I think, but I, but so my co-founder wrote this thesis for a paper he went to Stanford Business School, and he wrote this quadrant, and maybe it already exists, but I had seen it before, where like on this axis it's like technological, difficulty, and then this is like um, I think another axis is like market difficulty. So it's like either you can solve the problem, but it's hard to then sell it, or you don't know you can solve the problem, but if you did, it would be easy to
Mm-hmm.
sell, right? So yeah, so one axis is how much do you know it's solvable, and then how much do you know that it's desired or there's demand for it, right? So it's either solvable low known demand or unknown demand and or known demand, and so anyway, so in Elon Musk's case, he's going after there's demand, but you don't know that it's
Mm-hmm.
solvable. Can you build electric cars at scale? Can you build rockets at scale? Right. So those are the unknown. But if you could, it's like for sure that there's demand. But those are so
Mm-hmm.
hard, and they usually require a ton of capital. So all of us indie developers that are working in the mornings, we're always kind of working on it can definitely be solved, but like, does anybody
Mm-hmm.
want it
Mm-hmm.
solved, right? And I think that's where a lot of luck comes in. I just think it's very hard to know if people want something,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if I build it, will people want it? That's so hard. And I know there's things like pre-selling and things, but it's highly imperfect because um there's been so many times where I've talked to people where I describe it and they don't get it, and then I show it to them or let them use it, and then they get
Mm-hmm.
it, right? That's difficult. So, but there's one startup where like I tried a bunch, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just not sticking with stuff
Mm-hmm.
long enough, because I did these startups and then I gave up because it, didn't work after like 6 months to a year. And then I saw somebody else succeed with the same
Mm-hmm.
idea,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I'm just not sticking with it. So then I then I chose an idea and I stuck with it for like 7 years, as a side project. And like, I learned a lot, right? But like, it's kind of big opportunity cost, and it does kind of feel like a waste of time. Uh, and so what I think I learned from that is like, no, you can't just like start digging a hole and you don't find gold, and you just keep digging to the center of the earth hoping to find gold. You basically, to continue the metaphor, I think you have to go and just dig the right level deep, many holes in a ton of different places, trying to find that vein of gold that is product market
Mm-hmm.
fit. So it's like you dig just deep enough to determine if it's there and if you have it, and then try digging somewhere else until So you can't just like stick your shovel in the ground. That's not deep enough. You do have to dig some, but then you need to know when you've dug far enough to rule it out. So I think, in our case, we already, we had a product for
Mm-hmm.
sales. but it was close enough to what financial advisors wanted that they recognized it and could play with it and really wanted it. But I would say, like, my advice to anybody would be, don't fool yourself about product market fit. You like when you have it, you just won't have any time to think about whether or not you have it, because the demand pulling on you will be so hard that you just, there won't be any, you won't have time to question whether or not you have it, right? It will be the only problem you have when you have product market fit is delivering the product to the people throwing money at you. That is the only problem that you have. And so, going forward, like if I were to do this again, it's like I would not stop just trying new things until that trigger happens. What's really important, I think, is the most important question is the why now. Maybe some people have seen the TED Talk that talks about like the most important factor of starting a startup was timing. I agree. And I think the timing kind of plays into the why now. It's like, why is now the opportune time to build this, right? In our case, it was AI. It was the ability, like the context windows just barely got big enough to fit a call transcript inside. And the AIs were just barely getting good enough to answer questions and extract financial information from financial advisor conversations. And OpenAI was, introducing zero data retention and all this different stuff. So all this stuff is coming together at just this right moment that it creates this opportunity to create, this note taker for financial advisors. And so the why now of product market fit is like the most important question when you're kind of looking for ideas. It has to be like right on the edge of some new technology that was created that creates these new vacuums of demand that you can then jump into.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, but how did you, to the luck question, right? Like, how did you talk to that first financial advisor? And what if you talk to someone else instead? Do you think this is I guess, like, how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was 100% luck that we talked to a financial advisor, really. But
Well, how did that happen?
one
How did that happen? Like, was it like you just decided to show it to someone like that, or what?
No, my co-founder was telling his neighbor that's a financial advisor about it, and he said, "Oh man, we want that. Can we sign up?" And we were like, "Well, you're not our customer. We're not going to build anything for you, but yes, sure, you can go ahead and try and use it, right?" And they were calling us every day trying to sign up. They were bugging us about features. They were, and it's like that was, I mean, we weren't getting any kind of attention like that from the sales teams that we were trying to sell to. So it was immediately like, whoa, what the heck is, like, why do they want it so bad and everything?
That's
Yeah.
interesting. That's interesting. So it really was just kind of, it wasn't like you were doing concerted effort to try to, pitch it to a different set of audiences. You guys had a good hypothesis. It was more that it just, yeah, it was just like, hey, talking about it, and then bam.
Yeah. I I would honestly, I've spent my whole life trying to come up with like the formula for finding product
Hmm.
market fit. But I honestly, the only thing I could say is like you just got to get in the arena, and then serendipity happens, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, that's super interesting. Why do you think sales teams were less interested?
Oh well, because Gong is everywhere and
Mm,
ubiquitous. Like all sales teams are using Gong, and so they're just like, how is this different from
mm-hmm,
Gong? And Gong is already in all of our calls. I don't want two note takers in
mm-hmm,
my calls. And it was pretty clear that like if what we were building was actually valuable, like Gong was just going to build it pretty
mm-hmm.
quick anyway. So yeah, it was like it's just, even though Gong didn't do what we were doing, they were like this ubiquitous, uh, you know, gorilla that was kind of more well positioned to do it. So
Interesting,
yeah.
interesting. And is there not anything for financial advisors? I guess, is that part of what you learned, that this is an untapped market?
Oh yeah, at the time there
Hmm.
was nothing, right? There's no, yeah. And it's interesting too because the why now part of it is that they were just now becoming familiar, like comfortable with having these types of conversations over Zoom, for example.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, because before it was all in person.
Hmm. Exactly. And it just made them uncomfortable, a lot of people uncomfortable to have these types of conversations about their net worth and whatever over Zoom. I would also say like probably one of the things that's, one of the biggest reasons that sort of Jump has worked when other my efforts have not is my
Mm,
co-founders are very good at business, and they are like, one of them is just a huge hustler, like extrovert, talks to
mm-hmm.
everybody. So he was having like 40 to 50 conversations a day with people about what we were building, and getting feedback. So it really goes back to like the Paul Graham and Y Combinator thing of like talk to users. um, I am an introvert. I don't want to talk to 50 different people, 50 different strangers every single day. In my current role, like I'm kind of forced to be more of an extrovert, but that is not something that is comfortable or something that I want to do. It's quite a miserable prospect for me to talk to 50 strangers a day. But for him, he's totally fine with it, and he's very good at it. So for me, I don't know. I have another buddy that built a really great product, and that was my kind of advice. It's like find like a sales
Mm-hmm.
co-founder, because it makes a big
Yeah,
difference.
interesting. Well, shifting gears a little bit now that you feel like you have product market fit. Now it's all about managing a team. It's not just you writing the app and everything. How has that transition been?
It's been you know, yeah. I mean, it's like all things at once, Um, like think of any adjective. Yeah. So it's been really fun and fulfilling. I really enjoy like building
Hmm.
systems, and so now instead of building systems of in code, I'm building systems of people, and an organization. Um, I really wanted to kind of like do it my own way, and I did. And you can, when you're like a co-founder, you can do it
Hmm.
your own way. You can build the team how you want. You can hire how you want. You can organize the team how you want. You can
Hmm.
do whatever.
Hmm.
So I've really enjoyed that, and I feel like we've done a lot of things, differently. I think it has helped that, I was an IC for 20 years before, kind of becoming an engineering
Yeah.
leader, because I had and I just have a really great perspective from the IC point of
Hmm.
view.
Hmm.
And I think that's really helped a lot.
Nice, nice. And what I guess what do you spend most of your time doing now? Like, are you still at the place where you can look at code? Is it mostly like, hey, you're in meetings all day? Like, what does your day look like now?
Yeah, so I would say the most important thing I do is hiring. When we're like blitz scaling, the best team. I believe the best team wins. So I am spending all day building a hiring process that finds and services and identifies the best engineers. Um, I do try to do code reviews just to kind of keep a
Hmm.
pulse on things, and also keep engineers unblocked. Like if there's a PR that's been open for a few hours, I will jump in and review it myself. Plus, I still, if like you do a get blame, um, we have like 35 engineers, and if you do a get blame, um, like my name is still I'm still the last one that edited probably like at least half the code, because I was chugging on it myself for like a year and a half before anybody
Yeah.
else got here. And we added those 35 engineers were in the last like 6 to 12
Yeah,
months,
yeah. That
So
is that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, how are you handling that? That does not seem doesn't seem easy.
no, no, I'm 100% at a like not sustainable thing right now, where like that's one of my biggest things I'm working on is how can I do this sustainably? Because yeah, that's I wouldn't describe my uh I wouldn't describe my state as sustainable
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
Well, what concretely, like what can't you do? Like what is the unsustainable part?
Um, well, the big challenge is that I need to delegate decisions, and I'm finding it hard to like relinquish a lot of the decisions that like I make too many decisions
Hmm.
every day. I have too much like context switching fatigue. I'm reading like, hundreds of messages in Slack every day. I'm being asked to make, 100 decisions every day. Um, and I can't, I can't sustain it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just meant, it's emotionally exhausting. And it's like that thing. I want to say it was Elon Musk again who said like all the crap kind of filters to the exec, up to the CEO or to the
Mm-hmm.
top, and it's like all engineering problems, the worst problems filter to me, and a lot of them are stuff that are not fun to deal
Mm-hmm.
with. And so it's very emotionally draining to just have so much filter up to you. And so um like hiring, I think, is the most
Mm-hmm.
important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best team will win. So I'm trying to hire the best team. Um, but yeah, there's like I really feel super strongly about code quality and like keeping technical debt low. And so like I'm kind of in the weeds making sure that that
Mm-hmm.
happens. Also, like our component library, like I am in the weeds trying to make sure that the component library is designed in a really great way. Um, yeah, so I would say those are the two big things that I feel like are like glass balls that I
Mm-hmm.
can't drop that will like compound over time to create a real mess and slow us down is like badly designed code, um and then bad
Yeah,
hires.
yeah,
Like those two things I think will compound, will make life harder, will yeah, will hurt
yeah,
us more and more over time. So can't get
yeah.
them wrong.
Well, for hires, I mean, what are you looking for now? Like when you talk to someone, right? Especially in the hypergrowth situation, you
Mm,
probably, I mean, you kind of know what you need, but you're probably growing so fast that you don't really know exactly what you need. Like, what's your criteria for
yeah.
finding someone good?
Well, so uh, you're right in that I now am kind of hiring for roles that I've never hired for before, and I'm not an expert in. Um, so like certain aspects of
Mm-hmm.
security, I want like a specialist there, and it's like, we kind of have to collectively come as a team to bring our expertise to help identify, what we're looking for, and then I hired an engineering ops manager,
Mm-hmm.
operations
Mm-hmm.
manager. And that was kind of a role where it was like, kind of undefined. But for hiring engineers, like I do feel like I know exactly what I'm looking at or
Mm-hmm.
for now. Like we have a pretty good team, and I have like a benchmark, and I know what that great engineer looks like. As a matter of survival, I'm looking for somebody who just like with extreme ownership, who can just, I can say like, look, take this part of the product and own
Mm-hmm.
it. And like, I don't make it so that I don't have to think
Mm-hmm.
about it anymore. Like make excellent decisions, build it really fast, fix all the bugs, make sure you deliver like a ton of value to
Right.
customers, such that like, I don't really have to think about
Mm-hmm.
it anymore. So that's like a tall order. And, one feedback I got from somebody was that most companies want engineers to like constantly be like asking for
Mm-hmm.
permission or getting validation on what they're doing or whatever. And the way that we work is sort of like, no, I trust you. Like, just go get it done. Like, here's the high level like outcome that we're looking for and the value that we need to provide to the
Mm-hmm.
customer. And then obviously our PMs and our designers are defining the experience that we should deliver to the customer. But I'm like, man, you like move mountains to make
Yeah.
it happen. So that's, just as a matter of survival. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I have to have, because otherwise it's like if somebody just needs like too much guidance and
Right.
hand holding, I am drowning already. I cannot hold your hand. I need you to like, I need you to take one of these bricks that I'm
Yeah.
holding and take it completely from me, type of
Interesting,
thing.
interesting. Well, what's your like how do you find that? Like is that you mentioned you've gotten the process down pat, right? I feel like a lot of startups want people like that, right? Like what's your, what
Mm.
type of questions do you ask or what's the process look like? If you give some tips.
Yeah, so for US based engineers, I usually do like a little coding exercise, like about 30 minutes, where they build a simple web app, just to kind of, it's like a screening, like see
Mhm.
some,
Mhm.
basic proficiency in like building web apps. And then we ask them to come and work with us for a week as like a paid contractor.
Ah.
So we do like trial weeks, and we give them like an actual real difficult challenge, like ticket that we actually
Mm-hmm.
need
Mm-hmm.
built, right? And so we get to see them like actually working on our code base, actually building something that we need, and that is that's extremely revealing. Usually by halfway through the week, like we know that this is somebody that we want to work with. And then yeah, that's kind of the basic process. I was listening to a podcast, and I've heard Cursor kind of does the same thing. They have people come and work for a trial week. But it's really good for applicants. It's good for us. It's obviously great for us, but like it's good for applicants too, because those that have come and done it have really enjoyed it, because they get to see do they like the team?
Mm-hmm.
Do they like the
Mm-hmm.
code? Do they like the tech stack? Do they want to work here? Like working with us for a week, that they're like, pretty sure whether or not it's a good fit for them. So I think it's good for both sides. But I think if everybody did it, it would it probably wouldn't work,
Yeah. Yeah.
because then it's like you're doing like 2 months of trial weeks of all the different places that you're
Right.
considering, type of thing. But not everyone is doing it, so we're doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah, interesting, interesting. Yeah, and it's the sort of thing where, but can you do that for everybody? I mean, that's a lot of people. I don't know how many applicants you got, but just as an example, last time we put up a job posting for our company, we got like, I don't know, 1,000 to 1,500 applicants for our startup, and it's
Mhm.
like, what do you do with that many? So how do you filter, right? Like you can't have 1,000 or 500 people doing trial weeks.
Yep. So we had one of our engineers built a little app where they can like record themselves making a screening exam, like a test. And we just kind of dialed up the difficulty until we got the right number of filter down.
Mm.
So similarly, we get, hundreds of applicants, and then we have them use this kind of internal tool that we've bought to sort of like record their own screen building an app. It's only
Yeah,
30
yeah,
minutes. So it's like, I don't feel like that's, to me, most places will ask for
yeah,
homework assignments that are
yeah.
multiple hours, and so we were just asking for 30 minutes, like build something really simple in 30 minutes, and record it and upload it. And then we have a QA person that sort of like screens those, um, and then we might have like another step where we do like I might hop on a call with them and do like something, to get maybe it from 15 applicants or something down
Yeah.
to 4 or 5. And then a lot of times we've mostly done trial weeks like every single week the last
Wow.
year. And a lot of times we'll have engineers, two or three engineers working on different tickets all in the
Yeah.
same week. And it's fine, because they're not competing. It's like, if you're great, we'll hire you, right? But we do have a very high bar. So it's like most people don't make it to the trial week, and then we don't hire probably most trial weeks. So but yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, because during the trial week, like you're onboarding them, getting them set up, you're evaluating their work constantly, or like closely reviewing their PRs, trying to figure out if they're a good fit, etc. So it's a ton of work. But like I said, I honestly think that hiring, the like top 5% engineers is like the
It's
key,
worth it. Yeah.
because I I think the best
Yeah.
team
Yeah.
wins.
Okay. Okay. Well, do you see that changing? Now there's a lot of hubbub about like AI coding, and you could build. Some people are like, you build 10 times as much or something. With what is that something you guys are looking for or screening for, or is it more like, hey, look, we want to get good engineers, and if they're good engineers, they can make good use of these new tools.
Yeah, the latter for sure. I think, um, and we use AI extensively. So like we see a lot of the use of AI in the
Mm.
trial week, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like using AI certainly has not done like slowed our hiring at
Mm.
all. We've we've hired as much as we would have, even if like we probably would have before AI. But it does. I do think that there's different tasks that AI helps with. Like for some things, it makes you 10 times faster, like
Hmm.
writing tests. AI is so good at writing tests. You should never, no developer should ever be writing their own
Hmm.
tests anymore, right? At least not from scratch. Um, so tests, it's like it 10x's every developer when writing tests. Maybe it 5x's you while you're like typing out the code, because it auto completes. maybe at 2x's, answering questions about the code base. I would say at 5x's that. It's so great for like asking questions about like, why does it work this way? And it'll look all around the code base and, answer questions that you would have had to
Hmm.
ask another engineer that's been here a while. It is such a great use of AI. But then there's a lot of things where like AI helps
Hmm.
like zero, right? So like to me, the effective increase over all those things combined is probably around
Hmm.
two,
Hmm. Hmm.
like one and a half to 2x. So like the same engineer from 2021 is two is 1.5 to 2x more productive, like or a whole team with AI than they were before. So does that mean that like, if you're, if you have 10 engineers and now they're 20 engineers effective or whatever, like do you hire less engineers? Well, no, because your competitors are, if you take your 10 engineers, give them AI, and now they're 20, your competitors are going to hire 10 more, 20, and double it
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
40, right?
Hmm.
So you can't hire less engineers.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's happening. I don't think that growing companies, if there is a decrease in hiring engineers, I would probably peg it more on economic factors rather than AI is reducing it. And that's coming to you from a leader who has hired like crazy over the last year, 35 engineers, as fast as I can. And AI has not made me want to or need to hire less engineers at
Nice,
all.
nice. That's great to hear. That's great to hear. Are you screening for any sort of AI capability at all?
Um, yeah, I mean, during that trial week, we see
Mm.
how people use AI. So yeah, I mean, I want to see somebody who's like, making use of it, right? And they're very familiar with its strengths and its weaknesses and is trying to use it all the time. One use case I think a lot is great is have it try to do a
Hmm.
feature like
Hmm.
right out of the gate, because it's interesting to see how the AI interprets what you're asking and how it tries to do it. It's like I tried to do this the other day and it was like, oh, I hadn't thought about this edge case. Like when I'm trying to refactor this, it's interesting that like I am gonna have to figure out how to deal with this part that I didn't think of before. But seeing AI try to refactor it,
Mm.
AI did see that, and so I want to see that team members are using AI in a lot of different ways, like answering questions, trying to do a factor so that you understand the full scope of the code changes needed for something, writing tests 100%. So I screen
Okay.
for it.
Okay. Sounds great. So, what's up next for both your company and the industry? You have any projections or anything? I mean, you guys are growing like crazy, right? Like, what's next for you guys first?
Yeah, we've got big plans for what we want to do in the financial advisory industry. We believe there's many years left of financial advisors. They're being like people trusting humans with all of their
Hmm.
life savings and retirement and
Reasonable
everything. And
assumption.
so we yeah, I think there's many years ahead, and I think yeah, there's just tons we can do there, and so I think the it's looking like we'll probably keep growing at a breakneck pace. Yeah. When you talk about industry, are you talking about financial advisor or like software?
Take it however you want.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I think it's possible that we become like technical PMs, where the code is so good that we just sort of become really good at describing the architecture that something should have, given like all the context. I think that there might be a bottleneck in articulating context, like nuanced context that you get from having lots of conversations with the people, and articulating that clearly enough that an AI will be able to like make really fantastic like forward thinking architectural
Hmm.
decisions, because you'd have to kind of explain that, like, hey, we're thinking that we're probably also going to, we're building like a block builder here, we're probably also going to use it in these other things. You'd have to explain that and give the AI that forward, that context so that it can architect it in a forward thinking way. So I think that there is probably a while where, even if like the coding models get so good that no matter what you tell it to do, it nails it every time or something like that. Um, I still think that there's a step between a PM and an engineer where like they understand that you know, it's probably a good idea that we do partitioning in the Postgres database or that we model it a certain way or something like that. So I don't know, I could imagine engineers kind of become more like technical PMs, but man, it's tough to say. So I don't know.
We'll see in the next couple of years. We'll see in the next couple of years.
Yeah. But as of right now, there's so much that engineers do that is outside of what LLMs are good at that you know, there's no sign right now, like as the models currently are, that you know, I need less amazing engineers.
Yeah,
For sure.
and that's fantastic. Well, congratulations for having hit that point. It sounds like it was a long way coming, right? It had did a lot of work to get to this point. I'll be looking out for it. See what I hear about it in the future.
Thanks, William. Appreciate you having me
Yeah.
on.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of High Output. If today's conversation was useful, please take a moment to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Engineering leadership is evolving rapidly, and we're committed to bringing you insights from the front lines every week. Visit getmaestro.ai/highoutput for show notes, transcripts, and past episodes. Until next time, I'm William Chang, and this has been High Output, where we explore how today's engineering leaders are building tomorrow's high-performing teams.